Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a Stream is Ending end of season stream. Once again, thank you very much for joining and following our community. This particular season saw us continuing on our adventures on a very wonderful city building game and playing a first-person shooter which was very controversial for its amount of gratuitous violence and dismemberment and gore. This game was Soldier of Fortune, a very, very wonderful game that we managed to play, which we unfortunately had a couple of issues with regarding some... I don't understand what was happening exactly, but some of the maps just crashed the game entirely, and some of the combinations on the keyboard also managed to close the game from time to time. It was a really uncommon event, but still a very unpleasant one. Well, it wasn't that uncommon. Unfortunately, we were able to witness it a fair amount of times, especially on the particular maps that were, it seems, bugged, but we're not entirely sure what was the situation that was happening. Nevertheless, the parts that we managed to play of the game were very much enjoyable. We played the game very similarly to how we usually play first-person shooters, but it's always good to have different maps, different weapons, different stories altogether. So it was a very enjoyable experience for the most part. Oddly enough, the level we actually ended up enjoying the most was the first one. Mostly because it had many wide corridors which allow us to jump and run and dodge and crawl and shoot and throw bombs and all of that in a very entertaining environment, but also interconnected, which allowed us to shoot and dodge and jump and gun and run and go to another separate area, do the same, go back into that area or to another one. Anyways, it was very well crafted. Many of the other maps had a really good aesthetic and flair to it, but in matters of design, I felt that the first level was the best. We used cheats all the way there, but mostly to enhance the experience rather than to take shortcuts on the road, I feel. And the second game we got to play was Nihilbox or Nihilbox. I still have no idea how to pronounce the name. Dungeon Master, which, as we mentioned in one of the recordings, I have the strong belief comes from the inspiration of another game that was released many years ago called Dungeon Keeper. Yes, Dungeon Keeper, which had at its beginning 2 installments, followed by one that was done on mobile but was not that highly praised, if my memory serves me right. Yet the first 2 were very much highly praised and very innovative. This one, we haven't played those 2 all that much, or the mobile, to even know why it was so belated. But this particular one that we played was fairly enjoyable, and our understanding or conjectures on it are that they probably took a lot of the technologies and ideas that were on these first games and further managed to develop and improve on them. That's what would make the most sense, right? Nevertheless, until we get to play those other games in depth, we're not going to be able to give a proper and solid opinion on it. Nevertheless, the game was very much enjoyable. We managed to advance a considerable amount, although we still stood on the tutorial. But seeing as how there are so many interconnected systems, it makes sense that the tutorial is somewhat lengthy. Even lengthier than Sword Art Online Last Recollection one was, which we praised for being, or commended for being, one of the longest, if not the longest tutorial we have played. But this one, of course, took a lot, or is taking, because we haven't even been able to finish the tutorial as of now, after a long amount of hours. Yet, the gameplay wasn't that hindered because of it. It was fairly complete or fairly extended, and even though we didn't manage to perhaps get all the way to the place where we wanted, we still managed to witness a fair amount of the game, so that was a good thing. That was very interesting and very good. Nevertheless, it's not over. We're planning to get back on the game eventually, though since we have not set up an agenda for that further down in time, we are unaware as to when that will happen. But whenever it is, not just that, but both games, as well as any other that we have played, I believe, are very much welcome to when we are able to get back to them. Yeah, I don't know who's welcoming who. Should the game welcome us, or should we welcome the game? But anyways, they are all really wonderful experiences that we just can't wait to further continue. Nevertheless, since we are not only variety streamers but very greedy, who even knows when or even if that ever will happen again. But well, the experiences remain, and the fun and enjoyment that we have done and shared throughout the times hopefully still also remains. So without anything else to add at this particular moment, we shall depart and bid you farewell until a later moment when we will be continuing with our gameplay and our products, hopefully. And if everything goes according to our schedule, the next game in place will be Sinoalis, which we're not giving that much of a riddle to begin with, because, well, that's kind of a different situation. The game is closing down and we are rushing in as much as possible to get as much recordings of it as we possibly can. Also, the reason why many of our streams have been rushed out in these past few days in such a hurried manner, though we still can't delve that much deeper into games without losing the variety kind of aspect in our channel. Though we still hope the content is of high quality and enjoyable by our audiences and ourselves. Without further ado at this particular time, I will bid you farewell, hoping to see and catch everybody at a later time. Once again, hoping that the content has been of your enjoyment, quality and liking. We will see each other in a short while, hopefully. Until then, have a very wonderful time. Bye now.